Brett Favre has been the main ingredient in Green Bay's recipe for success, turning water into wine and defeat into victory all season long.
Save us from the man with the hex. Save us from this evil curse. It's gonna get bad, yeah, it's gonna get worse.
The injury-riddled defending champs hope it doesn't get any worse. Left for dead, and with the odds stacked against them, the bad news Broncos still have some kick left. Denver needs a win today to resurface as playoff contenders. This was Denver yesterday, typically Denver. This is this morning at Mile High Stadium as they broke up the ice and the snow, and it's turned into a delightful day at Mile High Stadium for the Green Bay Packers match with the Denver Broncos, the defending world champions. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden as usual. And John, the Green Bay Packers come here for a rare visit, and so far, if you read about what the Packers have accomplished, it's been all Brett Favre.
Well, and it's been all Brett Favre at the end of games, and he was saying last night that everyone's saying, oh, Brett Favre loves to come from behind. He loves to beat John Wayne, come in at the end of the game. He said, I don't love that. He said, that's tough. I hate that. Ray Rhodes said, it's just killing him. He said, we don't want that. He said, and the reason we have to do that is because we're not consistent. So today on offense, they're looking for more consistency. They're looking for a better running game, then get some play pass, get a lead, build on the lead, and play football that way. On defense, remember when they came in and Ray Rhodes and his defensive coordinator, Emmett Thomas, were saying we're going to have a more aggressive defense? Well, they really haven't blitzed much, but they're going to today. They have young cornerbacks. They weren't comfortable, but they are, and they're playing against a young quarterback in Brian Greasy, and they're going to go after him.
The Broncos had last week planned to start Bubby Brister. He got hurt in Friday's practice, and Greasy was a surprise starter. He got the victory last week, and what about today?
Well, you know, and that's the thing that Brian Greasy was telling us yesterday has really been a springboard, that you kind of have to get that first one. And, you know, you start and you don't know if you can do it. And then once you win, last week they beat the Oakland Raiders, and he said that gives us confidence. We want to carry that confidence offensively into today's game. On defense, what they would like to do is they would like to eliminate the running game so that they can make the Packers one-dimensional and then go after Brett Favre.
We'll be back at Mile High Stadium.
Earlier in the week, some stunning comments from Denver safety Eric Brown as he commented on Brett Favre and his thumb. He was quoted as saying, we have to get in his head, mess with that thumb if at all possible. Now, though Brett Favre has shrugged off the comments, his teammates and the NFL are irate over this bounty type of football. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, he's also quoted as saying Brett Favre as a quarterback is just lucky. Now, every quarterback requires a little bit of luck, but I've played against Brett Favre before, and let me tell you something. That guy's good. Pat?
All right, DJ, and Brett Favre is going to have his chance as the Packers have won the toss. Desmond Howard back deep with Basil Mitchell for Jason Elam's kickoff. From the 30 on a bright, sunshiny day. Howard, Basil Mitchell, I beg your pardon. And Mitchell's out to about the 25 and hit hard there. Let's look at the Green Bay offense led by the men of whom we just talked. Brett Favre, his 114th consecutive start. That is truly remarkable. Verba and Jersey Winters, Marco Rivera at right guard, and Mark Wall at right tackle in place of Earl Dotson. Levens, Henderson, Schrader, Antonio Freeman, and Tyrone Davis opens at tight end. Dorsey Levens has been sort of the key once you get past Brett Favre. Levens goes in motion, and Favre is going to throw. And does. Schrader wide open and up for a Green Bay first down. Hit hard by Dale Carter. Let's look at the Broncos defense. Williams, Price, Traylor, and Tanavasu up front. Three linebackers, Kadrez, Romanowski, and the rookie Al Wilson in the middle. Their number one choice, Dale Carter, Eric Brown, Tyrone Braxton, and Ray Crockett at the other corner. Romanowski, sort of the spiritual leader of that defense. 1st and 10, Green Bay. Levens. A yard. Romanowski.
See what Brett Favre did on that one, Pat. He always tries to keep that defense off balance, and he'll do things. He'll hand the ball off, and then he'll jump. And that time, he make it a fake audible to his wide receivers out here in the left side on a running play.
And tossed it back to Levens.
Well, that's what they want to establish early. They're not a good starting team. They're not a good first quarter team, and Dorsey Levens isn't a big first quarter runner.
Here's Favre, drops it down to Levens, and he's hit just as the ball arrives by Al Wilson, and it's incomplete. Here's the play before.
And you just see Favre, you see him, he's pointing out here to his wide receivers like it's an audible, and then he just goes and runs the ball to Dorsey Levens. Any little thing to throw that defense off. But that hit by Al Wilson is something. I mean,
yeah.
He's a guy, and all the Broncos were talking about how Al Wilson brings one big thing to this Bronco defense: enthusiasm.
He and Romanowski both have plenty of that. Favre to throw it. Has some time. Whips it up. Dropped by Antonio Freeman. Pass was right there. Perfect.
And the thing is, he had plenty of time, so his pass protection is starting off well. He comes off here, and he throws a perfect pass. As good a wide receiver as Antonio Freeman is, he has always had this problem. I mean, he will always drop a ball now and then.
The easy catches, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, that was, there's no reason you dropped that. There was no one around him. It was a perfect pass. It was a thing that should never happen to a pro wide receiver.
Aguiar back to punt. He's had his problems, and this is not his best. McGriff back to return it. Got one good block. Fumble. The ball came loose. I think McGriff got it back. And we'll have a look at the Broncos offensive unit. There's a flag on the play, however. No. There is a flag.
Yeah, there was a flag right down here in front of us in the 50-yard line and one straight across.
Still there.
Yep, still laying out there.
Tom White is the referee.
Ineligible lineman, number 83 on the kicking team, downfield. Penalties decline. Take the result of the play. First down. Timeout.
The Broncos decline, and they'll take over when we come back. Green Bay nothing, Denver nothing. 13:09 left first quarter. Scores of the other games: Detroit upset Minnesota. St. Louis continues to roll 41-13. Philadelphia won their second, beating Chicago 2016. New England Miami's not over yet. 30-25 New England. 16-13 Indianapolis over the Jets. Jacksonville 24, Cleveland 7. Oakland beat Buffalo. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati. Seattle San Diego first quarter. The Tennessee-New Orleans game is a final 24-13 Tennessee.
Ron Wolf from the Green Bay Packers was in here just a minute ago, and he was looking at all these scores. He said, hey, everything's backwards this year.
It is.
He used words like topsy-turvy, upside down, and Ron used backwards.
McCaffrey. Pass complete from Greasy. He had a first down. He wound up after retreating behind the yellow line, then going back and getting a first down. Brian Greasy opens at quarterback. His offensive line, a group of veterans with the exception of Lepsis at right to offensive tackle. Olandis Gary's the running back. Howard Griffith in front of him. Rod Smith and McCaffrey, who just made that reception, and Dwayne Carswell in his place of Sharp. Greasy, shovel pass, fumble, Green Bay. That's a forward pass. That's not a fumble. That's a forward pass.
Yeah, that's just an incomplete pass. That's the one advantage of running a shovel pass, is that you can throw it, and if they read it right away, then you can just throw it into the ground as an incomplete pass. You can say it's not a handoff, it is a forward pass. You can see it, and then therefore if it is dropped, it's an incomplete pass. It's not a fumble.
Right.
Now, if he would have caught that and then run with it, obviously, then he can fumble after that.
If he would have established possession.
But he never did.
No, he didn't. 2nd and 10. Greasy to Olandis Gary.
Pretty hard runner, isn't it?
Yes, he is. The Green Bay defense. Holiday, Big Gilbert Brown, Billy Lyon at left tackle in place of Santana Dotson again. Vaughn Booker. Brian Williams having an outstanding year. Bernardo Harris in the middle and George Coombs. And the secondary, Tyrone Williams, Sharper, Leroy Butler, and the rookie Mike McKenzie. Avery is now the running back on 3rd down for Denver. Came from Miami. Greasy drops and gets it to Avery, and he's got some speed. Jude Waddy made the stop.
You remember, they just got John Avery from Miami. They first brought him in here, and they worked him as a wide receiver. And then they have the injuries to their running backs, Terrell Davis and Derek Lavelle. So they put him back at running back. And Brian Greasy was telling us yesterday he really likes John Avery as a receiver. And he said he's going to be a big part of this offense today, receiving out of the backfield.
Gary is the deep back, and he gets the carry this time. Olandis Gary. Drafted in the 4th round out of the University of Georgia. Played at Marshall. Transferred to Georgia. Stopped by McKenzie. Very much like the same background as Terrell Davis.
There's an injured Packer there. That's Brian Williams.
That's a tough one.
You know, who has been one of their best players on defense so far this year. I know defensive coordinator Emmett Thomas was calling him a gem. He said he knew he was a good player, and he said he didn't realize until he got here that, you know, Brian Williams, number 51, is a great player, and they're going to do more and more things to build their defense around him. Looked like his own man just landed on him.
I think it was
that.
Booker just landed right in the middle of his back. Wasn't Booker. I think it's Billy Lyon.
Yeah, you can see he was just down there in the pile. I mean, he made his hit, and then just being in that pile. Now he's walking off the field. I mean, he looks fine.
Jude Waddy's taking his place. 2nd down, about 6.
Brian Greasy's getting off to a very smooth start here.
Yes, he is. He looks very confident, and that's a big thing. Here's Olandis Gary tripped up, but close to a first.
You know, you said that Olandis Gary has the same background as Terrell Davis. He does. You know, both went to Georgia, both transferred into Georgia, and both have the same body type. If you look at Olandis Gary, he is really a powerful man. I mean, he has a big upper body. He has very big legs, and you can just, when you meet him and you see him and you're around him, you can just feel the power in him.
Howard Griffith gets the first down on a rare carry. Olandis Gary, not quite as tall as Terrell Davis. And by the way, the surgery on Terrell Davis this past week was successful. You hope with rehabilitation he'll come back to be just what he was before.
Because he was the best. I think, you know, Barry Sanders was probably a year ago the best runner, but I think the best running back, when you take running and blocking and catching and the whole thing in football, was Terrell Davis.
Greasy. Pass is juggled by Byron Chamberlain. There's a flag on the play.
It's going to go against the Green Bay Packers.
They jumped?
Yeah, they jumped, so it'll be just be 5 yards here.
Offsides. Number 53 defense.
It's hard to believe when you look at the rosters of these two teams. They played the Super Bowl year before last. And here's some of the key inactives. Santana Dotson, Derek Lavelle, Shannon Sharp, Chris Watson. Actually, 26 players who are on that Super Bowl squad are not with Denver. 36 are not with the Packers. Gary, straight ahead, Brian Williams.
So it's good to see Brian Williams is back in there, because we did see him injured, and they had the injury timeout, and he went off the field and then was just off there for one play. But as we were saying, that Emmett Thomas really believes that this guy is something special, and he wants to build that front group around Brian Williams so that he can free him up to do more things, including quite a bit of blitzing.
2nd and 1. That yellow line is how far they have to go for a first. Gary over the top. That line's not official, but it looked like Gary got a first down.
And you know who does a good job for them is Howard Griffith, the fullback. He's going to be the lead blocker. I mean, he's the guy that is going to take the ball carrier where he's going. You see him, he gets a good kick out there, and then he lets Olandis Gary just cut back in off of that kick out. But he's one of those guys that you don't hear a lot about, that has to do those tough things like Moose Johnston does, and or did for the Dallas Cowboys. Those kind of guys, they're invaluable on a football team.
McCaffrey was a man in motion. Greasy to Rod Smith. There was doubt about his availability, but he's okay.
Yeah, Rod Smith has a pulled groin muscle. He didn't even know if he was going to play, but watch him. He's going to come in here in a slant. He's going to come up, and then he's going to go into his left right there, take 3 steps, and the ball is going to be thrown perfectly. Although he did bobble it a little.
Yeah.
But Rod Smith, and Mike Shanahan was telling us yesterday, is Rod Smith is probably about 85%. But for a pro like Rod Smith, that's good enough to start.
1st and 10, Denver at the Green Bay 14. Greasy back to throw. Has time. Fires to Dwayne Carswell, and Carswell gets down inside the 5. Tyrone Williams finally knocked him down.
I'm really impressed with the start of Brian Greasy here. The way he looks so calm in the pocket, and the pocket that he does have. This is very good pass protection. They aren't getting near to him. You see, I mean, he could look. He looks to the left. He looks to the right. He comes back to the left. He finds his big tight end, Dwayne Carswell, out there, and he almost gets the ball in the end zone.
But, 1st and goal.
But Brian Greasy, look at that. He's 4 out of 5 for 50 yards, calm, and has had great pass protection.
Gary to the 1. Bernardo Harris tripped him up.
If you look at it from the Green Bay defensive standpoint, they haven't had much of a rush, and they really haven't blitzed them much.
And they've had very poor tackling so far.
And that's something that's carried over. That was something that Ray Rhodes wasn't happy with, was the tackling of his team. And then it's kind of carried over here into this first quarter.
At the 1, 2nd and goal. 13th play of this drive by the Broncos. Greasy stumbled as he started to roll. No, he's out of the end zone. No, Byron Chamberlain got too close to the back. He was wide open.
And that was too easy. I mean, it was a bootleg. You can see Greasy is going to fake, then he's going to bootleg out here to the right. Byron Chamberlain is wide open on that back line, and you can see as he catches a ball, his left foot steps on the line. See his left foot, he's right there in the line. Now that's Byron Chamberlain's fault for not being aware. You have to be aware of where the lines are on a football field.
3rd and goal. Greasy to Gary. I don't think he made it. He got airborne, but didn't get over. Didn't break the plane.
This is going to be an interesting decision here. They've been moving the ball so well that the play for a coach, you have to kick a field goal and get the first point.
Well,
when you only have inches to go, it's a very difficult thing.
They're not going to do it. They're going to go.
I wouldn't be surprised if they ran a quarterback sneak.
I wouldn't either.
Watch this here. Olandis Gary gets hit here, and they turn him and spin him around in midair.
He didn't get in.
He started in square and ended up perpendicular.
Gracie's going to throw it, and does. Incomplete, a flag on the play. They'll get 4 more shots intended for Chamberlain.
It was Byron Chamberlain again, and And Chamberlain wasn't open.
Anthony Davis is back there with him.
And you see what Anthony Davis was. He has his back. He has his back to the ball. You see, he's not looking at the ball.
Doesn't play the ball ever.
And he just throws it right at him and just hits him in the back. You know, that's one of the few things that they will always call pass interference on if, as a defender, and the ball's in the end, you don't look back.
Number 50 defense, not playing
So,
the ball in the end zone.
the Broncos will get 4 more shots.
Look at Anthony Davis here, number 50. He never does turn back, and I think Brian Greasy didn't think Chamberlain was open, but he knew that he was going to get a pass interference.
That sort of takes the wind out of the goal line stand now.
Because, as you say, that makes it automatic first down.
Yep. Somebody moved down. That's not automatic. Chamberlain, I think, tried to get started early that time.
Well, they did have motion. Now, the motion part was legal.
Number 86 offense. Moving prior to the
86,
snap.
Chamberlain.
5-yard penalty. First down.
Here's Chamberlain right here. Now, the motion comes around. You see Chamberlain just moved right there. And once you get down and get set, you can't do that. Chamberlain has had quite a few plays. He stepped on the back line for a touchdown. He was involved in a pass interference in the end zone. They get down there, first down on the 1-yard line, and he flinches.
Now he's getting chewed out on the sideline. That's Gary. Inside the 5 to about the 4.
He should get chewed out on the sideline. Now with second and third down here, second down, I think this is a good down for that bootleg again.
Here
because
comes Chamberlain back in, excuse me.
And Chamberlain was the guy that Brian Greasy threw the touchdown to on that bootleg, and that was one of the things that Brian Greasy wants to do more, and that Mike Shanahan wants him to do more is move in the pocket, and those bootlegs we are seeing are part of moving in the pocket.
To the 1. They're doing a lot of playing inside the 5, aren't they?
Well, this is what football's all about.
Good day for hitting, I heard you say on the way out here.
Yep. Good day for hitting. That old deal they say in golf, you know, that you drive for show and putt for dough. And football, it's the same thing is true. You play in the middle of the field for show, and you play short yardage and goal line for dough.
That's where the hitting takes place.
And that's where it is. And then you get third down right here. This is where the dough is.
I think maybe Gary better stay on the ground a little bit longer. He gets another carry. And he doesn't get anything this time. Big Gilbert Brown was there.
That's the thing. You got to stay away from Gilbert Brown on that short yardage, and especially when he gets penetration like that.
Now the field goal team comes on the field.
He had enough shots down there.
Yep. Here he goes airborne.
Well, he started airborne, and then he runs into Gilbert Brown. He told us yesterday he was going to try and stay away from Gilbert Brown. He started airborne, ran into Gilbert Brown, and Gilbert Brown made him more airborne.
By Elam. The field goal was good, and Denver gets the lead, and Green Bay escapes.
Here's Alandis Gary, and you see when he gets the ball and he gets hit by Gilbert Brown, he starts to jump here, and now he's in midair, and watch Gilbert right here is going to give him the hit, and when he hit him, he knocked all kinds of stuff off him. Did you see the stuff that was flying?
Damon Parker fields the kickoff. There's a flag on the play. Flags all over the place.
This is the first time that Damon Parker has been active.
Yep.
Ron Wolf was telling me before the game he's the fastest guy in the Packer team. He's a home run hitter, and they just want to get him in a few plays because they can maybe get a big play from him.
It's going to be holding against Green Bay.
I tell you, talk about the things the Packers do well. One of the things they don't do well are special teams this year.
They've had problems.
They've had trouble with their punting, with their punt coverage. They've had trouble with their returns, not getting Desmond Howard started. Referees having trouble with his mic. There's a lot of trouble out there in the field right now. As we
that end of the field is getting a lot of wear and tear and trouble. Next, it's pivotal game 4 of the ALCS as Nomar Garcia-Parra and the Red Sox look to even up the series against the Yankees. Andy Pettitte takes the mound against Brett Saberhagen tonight, live from historic Fenway Park at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox.
I saw that Yankee game the last time Pettitte pitched against the Rangers, and he was really tough. He'd get in a little trouble and then pitch himself out of it every time.
No gain. Levin smothered.
You can tell that this Denver defense is fired up. We could even tell it on the field before the game, the way they were warming up. Listen to this.
Let's knock people out. Do 60 minutes of it.
That's why old linebackers fire each other up and say hello. They just hit themselves in their heads.
As Romanowski.
Romanowski was doing the pointing. Trevor Price jumped off sides, did the penetration. Romanowski was behind them pointing, saying that they moved and caused Denver to move. So it's who moved first.
Number 93 defense. 5
There's
yards
against
penalty.
Trevor Price.
Second down.
They say he moved first.
Yeah, well, he did jump across,
Yep.
and what the Broncos were trying to say is that someone on the Packer offensive line moved.
Well, if you do it, that's your best defense. Point to somebody else.
I didn't see him, and then he had help. And then Romanowski was back there pointing too, like he saw something, and I didn't see anything up here, and they didn't see anything down there.
Second down. Favre. Time. Open is Antonio Freeman. And Favre just overthrew him, and I think he lost the ball in the sun anyway.
Yeah, well, he got by. Ray Crockett was the covering corner over there. Tyrone Braxton was trying to get across, and Brett Favre throws that ball to him. And I think you're right. I think as you look at the sun there, I think that Antonio Freeman, as he looked back,
He looked right into it.
looked into the sun and didn't see that ball. But that was very close to being a touchdown.
Yes, it was. 3rd and 6. Three wide receivers for Green Bay this time. Levin still in the backfield. Freeman moved. Blitz coming. And they got Favre.
Favre tried to throw that one away. Glenn Cadrez. The Broncos were in a 3-man line. Cadrez was a linebacker. He came right up the middle over the right guard, and no one blocked him.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Well, there was no
Third
play, I
down.
guess.
But it's still a good play anyway. But they're going to say, here's Cadrez, and he's going to come right up in this area here. You see, the Broncos are in a 3-man line. There comes Cadrez. The right guard, Rivera, he blocks down, and no one blocks Cadrez. As you said, there was too much time, so the whistle blew before that ball was ever snapped.
Remember, they got a new right tackle on that side. Wall.
And Mike Wall had been the starting left guard. Earl Dotson isn't playing today, so Wall's playing right tackle.
Favre this time has time. Spins out, as he usually does, to Schrader. And he is stopped short of a first down. Right now, for an update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat, take a look at how Miami pulled this one out. Under 30 seconds left. Damon Hewitt, touch pass there to Stanley Pritchard. 5-yard touchdown score. Second consecutive week for a closing minute victory for Miami. Now on top of the AFC East. Back to Pat and John.
Back in Denver at Mile High Stadium. Aguiar back to punt for Green Bay. He's had his problems.
Matt, how about this year? I mean, not only the teams that are winning, but the quarterbacks that are doing it for the teams that are winning.
Better kick. McGriff back to field it. McGriff taken down immediately. Hang time 4.3, which is just about good enough.
For Corey Bradford to get down there.
Yeah. 3-0. The Denver Broncos lead Green Bay 3-0 with 1:18 left to play in the first quarter. Flag on the play.
flags all over the place. There's about 5 flags on the play. That was an interesting thing here. Someone was wrong on the Packer defense because Mike McKenzie, the corner.
Number 89, offense moving prior to the snap.
Avery came in motion.
Yeah, and as he came in motion, George Kuntz, the linebacker, went out with him, and Mike McKenzie, the corner, went out with him. So that motion took 2 guys out there. You'd want to say, well, it wouldn't be George Kuntz.
No,
He's the old veteran linebacker. It would be Mike McKenzie, the rookie corner. You can see what Brian Greasy has done. He spread the ball around. 2 to his wide receivers, 2 to his tight ends, and 2 to his running backs.
Greasy going to run the quarterback draw out of the shotgun formation. He's smothered by Vonnie Holiday.
You know, one of the things the Broncos have had here for so long is a quarterback who can move. I mean, you think of John Elway and all the things that he did, and then Bubby Brister could move, and Brian Greasy, this is not one of his strengths. So what Mike Shanahan is trying to do is, so he's just not a sitting duck in the pocket all the time. He's trying to get him organized runs where he can move him around and run him like that being a quarterback draw trap there.
Less than a minute left in the first quarter. 2nd and 16.
There's an empty backfield.
But the pass is caught by Rod Smith. Not enough for a first down, about 3 yards shy. Darren Sharper made the stop.
I'm really impressed with Brian Greasy and how calm he is, and you know, in the pocket, and he's seeing everything, has 5 guys spread out there. But I'm also impressed with the pass protection he's getting. This offensive line of the Broncos is doing a heck of a job early in this game of protecting Brian Greasy and handling that line of scrimmage. Of course, they didn't down there in the goal line when they needed it. They didn't get a big old Gilbert Brown block.
Cooper goes in motion. McKenzie goes with him. A flag on the play. Here comes the Green Bay blitz. Pass is caught by Rod Smith for a first down, but a penalty marker down.
Yeah, they've had their problem. I mean, Greasy has made the plays. You go back to the touchdown pass that he throws to Chamberlain, and Chamberlain isn't aware where he is and steps in the back line, so they don't get that touchdown. Here they get a first down, and they're going to have that because of a penalty.
Offense, 2 men moving, not getting set prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. That's the end of the first quarter.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score: the Broncos 3, the Packers nothing. Fox NFL Sunday from Mile High Stadium will continue after these messages. Sunday, November the 7th, the wait is over. The fall's biggest event is coming. Don't miss the most anticipated premiere of the new season, The X-Files, Sunday, November the 7th, here on Fox. At Mile High Stadium, as they've switched ends, it's 3-0. The Broncos with the ball lead it.
They have 3 wide receivers out here on this side, 1 down here in the bottom, 1 blocker in the backfield.
Shotgun, and here comes the blitz, and McCaffrey gets open. And is taken down by Fred Vinson, but that's Bronco first down.
I'll tell you, Mike Shanahan and Brian Greasy in this offense really has the defense of the Packers off balance. I mean, they get a first down, they have a penalty, they come back and they just get it again. And they spread it out. They've been running, they've been passing, they've been throwing to their backs, they've been throwing to the tight end, they've been throwing to the wide receivers. This has been a very impressive offensive start for any offense, especially a young quarterback.
Gary for about 4. On the other hand, their defense has done a good job against Brett Favre and the Packer offensive unit as well.
You know, it's interesting what they just tried to do here. They tried to come on a backside blitz, and they're going to try and bring the linebacker and the safety from this side. And of course, there was a running play. But watch, Brian Williams and Leroy Butler are going to blitz. They were going after Brian Greasy on that one, and one of those guys would have been free.
Greasy to Griffin. First down. George Kuntz knocked him out of bounds. Brian Greasy looks totally in charge, doesn't he?
Well, he reminds me a lot of his dad.
Who was just visiting visiting with us.
Bob Greasy, who was here at the game, and that's the way he used to play. I mean, he was so smooth and silk, and that deal about as cool as the other side of the pillow, and that's what Bob Greasy was, and Brian Greasy seems like that same guy.
Yeah, some of the same mannerisms, indeed. Gary stopped by Vonnie Holiday.
Well, Vonnie Holiday had a great season a year ago as a rookie, and the thing that helped him, I think, was the good news, and can also be the bad news, is he played defensive end like a tackle. So he was always, playing very strong against the run, but because he played like a tackle, that means he plays more square on the offensive tackle and doesn't get as much pass rush. Here he is here in this position, a little wider now.
Flag on the play as Leroy Butler came off the corner, and he was a little anxious.
Leroy Butler's always a little anxious, and he likes to get up close to the line of scrimmage, and he always seems to be more effective the closer he is.
Defense, number 36, unabated to the quarterback. There is no play, a 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You're going to see here that he comes across and gets into the backfield before the ball snapped, and then he would have been able to run unabated to the quarterback, even though that wasn't a pass. So they blew the whistle and stopped the play.
2nd and 4.
Usually if a defensive guy jumps, it's a free play for the offense, but he would have been able to run unabated to the quarterback.
Here's Gary, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage by Bernardo Harris and knocked backwards. Gilbert Brown with an assist.
Gary's been knocked backwards a lot in this game, hasn't he? I mean, he's a kid who runs hard, and he's going to go in there and he's going to go square. He always hits the whole square, and then the Packers knock him out of square. I mean, they have knocked him perpendicular.
Yep.
They have knocked him in a 180-degree turn. They have knocked him in 360-degree turns. He goes in square, but he has never come out square yet.
He's come out airborne most of the time. Here's Greasy dropping on 3rd down. Gets the pass to his tight end, Dwayne Carswell, who falls for an up for first. Bernardo Harris was wrapped around his leg.
Well, the Broncos lost Shannon Sharp, and he was, of course, they've lost everything. I mean, they lost John Elway. He retired. He was a quarterback who led everything. They lost Terrell Davis, who was their leading rusher, and they lost Shannon Sharp, who was their leading receiver. So part of that is going to be taken up by Dwayne Carswell, who's more of a blocker, and he'll catch a few passes, but the pass receiving tight end will be Byron Chamberlain.
And they also lost earlier John Mobley. Here's the old counter play. That's Avery.
Here's what we're talking about. John Elway, I think the adjustment to John Elway retirement has been a lot bigger thing than the Broncos anticipated.
Or what that they would admit.
Now, and then they lose their all-time rusher in Terrell Davis for the season. Then they lose their all-time receiver in Shannon Sharp, and he's going to be 8, 9, 10 weeks. They lose John Mobley, their leading tackler for the season. And then, of course, Steve Atwater was on there. They waived Steve Atwater, and he's with the Jets now.
Here's Olandis Gary. And Gary gets another Bronco first down.
He knows who to get behind there. They pulled their tackle. You're going to see they pulled their left tackle, Tony Jones. He's going to pull out there. See, he's like he's getting ready to pass protect. He pulls out here, and here he comes. And you see, you just follow him. Just follow that big tackle and then cut off of his block. And that's exactly what Olandis Gary did there. To see those big old linemen, what they call out in space.
McCaffrey got an outstanding block on George Kuntz.
McCaffrey is an outstanding blocker for a wide receiver.
Here's Gary hit at the 25.
In fact, I think McCaffrey is an outstanding player, period. Look at he was saying how he tried to copy everything from Jerry Rice, including the shoulder pads. He said he came here to Denver and he wanted a little pair of shoulder pads. They said they didn't have any.
Yep.
So he said, let me go back. And he went in the equipment room, and he found that pair of pads. And somewhere they had to be like an old kicker, like left over from Jim Turner or someone. And
Jim Turner wore bigger pads than that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know, I just thought of Jim Turner, some kicker or someone that, and he found them. He found those pads.
At the bottom of the bin. Flag on the play as Gary goes straight ahead.
And that's in the area when the referee throws at that's going to be holding on offense. When he's back there and he throws it right at the line from behind the quarterback, it's going to be offensive holding on the offensive line.
Holding, number 66 offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Called against the center, who's a good center.
Yeah, and Tom Waite, the referee, is looking right at Tom Nalen right there. You can see Nalen. He starts out and he gets his hands outside, and now he just kept that left hand up there a little too much. You can get your hands outside the plane of the defensive man's body, but you have to bring them right back in. You can't hold them out there and then twist or torque the guy.
Here's Greasy. Drops it just over the middle to Avery, who's hit immediately.
And it didn't make any difference if he dropped it or not. He was going to be dropped one way or another. Brian Williams had him zeroed in, and he was going to go get him. I think they figured that out when they put John Avery in, that Brian Greasy is going to try and throw to him, and he threw a little behind him. I think, remember we saw Brian Greasy in the preseason, and we've seen him on tape and film in the regular season. If he has one fault in his passing game that's constant, it's he throws behind his receivers quite a bit.
Three-man rush by Green Bay. High snap, Greasy one-hands it. Incomplete. Intended for Rod Smith.
Well, remember Jason Ealer? Remember what he did a year ago?
Well, this one's going to be from about 53 yards, right?
So we know that if it's only 53 yards, that he has plenty of leg for it.
He kicked 163 last year. This is 53. That could be. No good. No good. He didn't quite catch it. Now again, they bring it back to the point of the kick. Not as they used to back to the 20. So this gives the Packers a break. Back at Mile High Stadium, Pat Bowlen. Dorsey Levens. Not much doing.
One thing we talked about is that the Denver Broncos defense is really going to gang up on that run, because they want them to get away from the run. They want them to be one-dimensional, and then they just want to deal with Brett Favre. They know that Brett Favre is a great player, but if they can stop Dorsey Levens the way they're doing it now, then they can just concentrate and go after Brett Favre in the passing game.
Gets rid of it just at the last second. The pass picked off by Dale Carter, and Carter's knocked out of bounds.
And I'll tell you who caused that one was Bill Romanowski. We talked about going after Favre, stopping the run, going after Favre. Bill Romanowski is the guy. You're going to see him right here. He comes. He's coming right up the middle. Now Brett Favre is hit just as he throws that ball, and Dale Carter ends up with it.
And the Broncos take over. A beautiful day over the Rockies as Denver leads Green Bay 3-0. The Broncos have the ball at midfield after the interception by Carter, caused by the sack by Romanowski. I guess if it's an interception, it can't be a sack, can it?
Well, it was the pressure of Romanowski. We're just talking about how they were going to blitz Brett Favre, and Romanowski came on a blitz. Joe Andruzzi didn't pick him up. He hit on Brett Favre.
Avery came in motion. Greasy going. Incomplete to Byron Chamberlain.
Here's the pressure we were talking about, Pat. Here's Romanowski here. This is going to be a stunt. They start out here. Romanowski is going to come right here to get Brett Favre. See, Joe Andruzzi starts to pass him off right there. Doesn't get back. So now Romanowski gets a straight shot at Brett Favre and hits him just as he throws it. And look at this interception here by Dale Carter. He just picked that thing right off the ground.
It didn't touch the ground.
And that's why it was a dying duck out there because of the hit of Romanowski on Favre.
2nd and 10. Greasy to Gary to the line of scrimmage.
Now they're ganging up on that. You see that first guy in there was Leroy Butler. He was a strong safety, but he is right up there on the line of scrimmage and penetrating. Denver's offense today, 32 plays, 131 yards, 11 first downs.
3 points.
Look at the time of possession.
Yeah.
They've done all those things. But remember, they did have that touchdown that Byron Chamberlain touched the back line on, and you know, which was just not being aware.
3rd and 9 at the 49. Another shotgun spread. Here is Greasy. Pass is going to be out of bounds, caught by Cooper.
That was a guy that if Rod Smith wasn't going to be able to play today, Andre Cooper was going to be the starting wide receiver. See on that, this is a pretty good pass, but you're going to see here he only has 1 foot in. You see he has the right foot is in, and then the left foot is out of bounds.
And Tom Ruin comes in to punt for Denver. Back deep is Desmond Howard. Howard, fair catch at about the 10. And Green Bay will take over there. Their offensive unit so far, not much success. Next week, the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show will be live from Texas Stadium in Dallas for an NFC East battle when the Redskins clash with the Cowboys, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Here on Fox, John Madden, I'll be there live also.
Yeah, it's always nice to be live with the pregame guys and have everyone there. You have your whole group. It's like family.
Yeah.
Like one big old happy family.
Here is Levin. And that's the biggest gain of the day for Green Bay from scrimmage on the ground. Here's the way Dallas came in overtime. Came from behind to beat the Redskins. Their only loss, Aikman to Ishmael.
Didn't Troy Aikman that day throw 5 touchdown passes?
Yes, he did. Dallas has won the last 4. But they've been close. Here is Levins again. Nudges it up to about the 20. Let's go down to DJ Johnson on the sideline.
Pat, John, something that could factor in here in the quarter. Every time after the series, the Packers defense is coming off and heading straight to the oxygen tanks. Now, we don't know if it's because of the altitude or because they've been on the field for a long time. It's probably a combination of both. Pat?
Indeed, DJ, it probably is. 3rd and 1. To the yellow line. Don't forget, that's not official. Here's Levin. He doesn't get to the yellow line, I don't think.
I don't think he got to the white line.
That's official.
There's that oxygen he's talking about. I remember once, we're going to see here that he doesn't get the first down here. I mean, he had to cut back and he has nothing, and then the cutback is taken away.
They're going to measure.
One night, I don't know, we're playing up here in Denver.
Yep.
We only had one oxygen thing like that. And I don't know, you know, usually as a coach you go over and you get a drink of water and stuff. And I went over and I grabbed the oxygen thing and I put it on. And our offense had just scored a touchdown, and all the linemen were coming over and they were huffing and puffing, and they had to get in line. They had to get in line behind me. And I never lived that one down, yeah.
Behind the coach?
Yeah, behind the coach. What the heck do you need it for?
Here comes the Packer punting unit. They only needed about the length of the football, but Ray Rhodes decided We better kick it out of here.
I tell you, and that's getting these fans into the game now. This Bronco defense, we said early, we showed early, Romanowski was firing them all up, and they've been playing that way. It's not one of those things they just talked about during the week or talked about in the locker room. They've been playing the first half that way.
Louis Aguiar back to punt it. He had a weak in the Packers' previous game. This one's better.
Punters usually do get well in Denver.
4-5 the hang time, and that's all you can expect. The Broncos take over. 5:07 left in the first half. 3-0 Denver. Next, it's pivotal game 4 of the ALCS as Nomar Garcia-Parra and the Red Sox look to even up their series against the Yankees. Live from historic Fenway Park at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Right here on Fox. Right now on Fox, it's the Broncos and the Packers. Brian Greasy faked and fumbled and gets the ball back, and now he's being chased, and he is out of the pocket.
Yeah, there's an area where the tight ends would line up. Now, if the quarterback gets outside of that area, he can throw the ball away, but he has to throw it back to the line of scrimmage. That's the only question about it, is how far he threw it.
Passing motion was affected by the hit. No grounding. Second down.
Brian Greasy has fumbled the ball 10 times this year. He's only lost 3, however. And that was not grounding.
No, you know, young quarterbacks have a problem with that. You know, they don't see everything that's happening on defense, and a young quarterback stays a young quarterback, I think, until his 5th or 6th year.
Olandis Gary picks up about 4 on the pass from Greasy.
See who made that tackle? It was Keith McKenzie, and we see more and more on those screens. You know, with these blitzes and zone blitzes, you see more defensive linemen making tackles downfield. You know, because they'll start on a rush and then they'll drop out, or they'll start on a rush and they'll feel a screen or a shovel pass or something like that, and they'll play back off that.
3-man rush. Greasy, pass complete to Rod Smith, and that'll move the sticks. Clock continues to run at just over 4 minutes.
Greasy figured out this defense. It's an interesting defense. It's a 3-man line, 1 linebacker, and 7 defensive backs. I tell you, it isn't something that, you know, and a lot of times they can blitz any different combination of guys from that, but there was no blitz. They just used a 3-man line, and then they covered with 8, 7 of them being defensive backs. 3 of those 7 defensive backs being rookies.
4-man rush this time. Greasy up the middle, caught by Byron Chamberlain at the Green Bay 30. Tyrone Williams and Leroy Butler back there with him to bring him down.
Brian Greasy feels real comfortable generally, but specifically he feels comfortable throwing to Chamberlain. I was at practice the other day, and I would say that half the passes he threw to Byron Chamberlain. I think that comes with sometimes, you know, when you're the backup and you deal more with backup players than you do starters, and I think he's a lot more comfortable with Chamberlain than he is with McCaffrey or Rod Smith.
At the Packer 28. Here comes Greasy again and throws up the middle to Smith, and Smith is down to about the 12. Tripped up by Butler.
Yeah, and this whole thing, this whole first half to me starts right here with the offensive line and the pass protection. I mean, the Packers are coming on a blitz. They pick it up, but look at the separation that they give Brian Greasy. They give him about 5 yards of separation from the rush to where he is. Then that gives him vision, and it also gives him room to step up and hit Rod Smith.
So it's a first down and a timeout, Denver. 2:25 left in the first half. Brett Favre hasn't had much chance to operate here in the first half. The Broncos have had the ball all the time.
And that's a frustrating thing for an offense that you say you ought to run more, you ought to pass, you ought to do this, you ought to do that, but you don't have the ball to do it.
Greasy gets rid of it, picked off by Brian Williams. Pass Greasy. Brian Williams still on his feet. Gets to the 30-yard line.
And that was the gem that Emmett Thomas was talking about. Saying he's better and better than he thought and getting better every week, and he's becoming a bigger part of this defense. Brian Greasy had him go, and he threw that one a little off balance, but that was great coverage by Brian Williams. I mean, he's out there. He was man-to-man on Alandis Gary, and he just had him. You know, they always say you try and get a running back man-to-man on a linebacker, but if that linebacker's Brian Williams, you lose that battle. That was a 60-yard return. That is what you call a change of field position.
Matt Lepsis finally got him down. Here's Levens. Hesitates, steps outside, is stopped by Al Wilson. Brian Williams.
Well, they ought to give him the oxygen.
Yeah. 2 minutes to go.
I wonder who has the oxygen over there now. Give it to Brian Williams.
Hope Ray Rhodes doesn't have it. Green Bay ball, 2nd and 10. 2nd and about 12 make it. Favre drops. Has time. Goes deep. Incomplete. Pass behind his intended target, Bill Schrader.
You know, one of the things we talked about earlier that the Packers wanted to do in this first half is get their running game going. And if you look at it, Dorsey Levens has carried the ball 7 times for 6 yards. Hey, look at this. They've run to the left 2 times for a yard, 3 times up the middle for 9 yards, 2 times to the right for -4. But the thing that they wanted to get going early, they haven't gotten going at all.
3rd and 13. And Brett Favre hasn't been able to do much either. He calls the timeout. That gives the Packers 2 left with 1:55 left. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JD, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and all our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report, the full cast of the pregame, halftime, postgame show on hand.
You know, it has to be interesting with all these scores and upsets, and as I said, it's not only teams that you didn't think were going to win, but these teams winning with guys that you didn't even know.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that was quarterback. I mean, they got guys named Lucas playing quarterback and stuff now.
They got a guy named Kurt Warner playing.
He's playing doggone well, too.
Yeah.
He's coming down before he throws it.
3rd and 13. Favre with the rush being on, incomplete. Juggled around between 2 or 3 people, almost picked off. Under heavy pressure is Brett Favre.
Well, Alfred Williams is a guy that he gets pressure. I mean, Williams, he's coming down from here. In fact, he has a spinner right there. Did you see him get out of that one?
That's the new right tackle.
Right. Mike Wall is playing right tackle. Earl Dotson isn't. So they put Alfred Williams over there on him. He gave him a spinner move, took it inside, and he was right there on Brett Favre.
This is Ryan Longwell from 50 yards out.
Remember, this is Mile High.
That's going to get there. And it's good. Longwell ties it at 3-3. 1:42 left.
This is something, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Packers have hardly had the ball. The Broncos have been moving it up and down the field the whole time, and the score's tied at 3.
Again, a reminder about the Visa halftime report coming up with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris. Fox Sports ticker up to the second statistics, scores, and highlights. And there have been a lot today. That 50-yarder by Longwell equals his career long, by the way.
There's Mark Chimura, the tight end for the Green Bay Packers, who's been such a great player for so long. He injured his neck, and he's on injured reserve. He's out for the season. In fact, he's not sure if he's ever going to play again. Right. Going to have, some more tests and studies and looked at it. And, a lot of players are thinking that now. I mean, what you do, you have to think about, playing is one thing, but you have to think about the rest of your life, too. I mean, Michael Irvin is thinking about that now in Dallas. Obviously, Steve Young in San Francisco. Yeah. Mark Chimura here. And I mean, those are big decisions, very tough decisions.
It sounds more and more like Chimura would like to play some more. Well, obviously, they all like to play some more.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think that the thing that makes them great players and competitive, they want to play more. We got a little brawl down there in the field.
Somebody else wants to play some more.
This guy Corey Bradford is something. He's the guy. Remember against Minnesota, he makes a couple of big catches and then a touchdown to win the game. But he's also the leading tackler on the coverage team.
Far and away, he is the leader.
He's just a good football player, and it's amazing. He's from Jackson State. He's only in his second year, and he only played 1 year of college football. He was a track guy. And, Brett Favre said, he's still not sure of what he's doing out there, but he does it fast.
Well, most of those people who ran track and didn't play football, they're taken into football because of their speed. That's Gary over the left side. And they don't have any idea how to play football. But he learned pretty quickly, did Bradford.
Well, one of the toughest things for a guy with speed is his head bobs, and they can't see the ball. And as he runs, his head is going up and down, and then as he looks at the ball is going up and down. And to be able to run with your head straight is a football thing and not a track thing.
Well, let's watch him.
Well, he's learned if he's playing now to run with his, if you're going down on special teams, you better have your head on a swivel. And that's what he's doing. See, every once in a while, he'll sneak a peek in here to the right to see if someone is coming across to block him. If you're running down on a coverage team, that's different than running down catching a football. Because you have to have your head on a swivel now. But look at that time of possession.
Yeah.
Denver, 21 minutes. And the Green Bay Packers have only had 6 minutes, but it's about an interception, and it's about goal line stands.
Here's Greasy. Hit just as he let it go. The ball came loose. That's not a fumble. Incomplete.
That Brian Williams has been, in the first half for these Packers, he's been all over the field. I mean, of course, he's the guy that got the interception, ran it back 60 yards, but it seems like every time they try and throw the ball around the middle, Brian Williams gets there at the same time the ball does.
It'll be 3rd and 8. A minute 25 left. Both teams. Well, Green Bay only has 1 timeout left. Denver has 2. Handoff is to Gary. And he bounces just shy, I believe, of the first down. Howard Griffith make that.
And the Packers should take a timeout right now. Because, see, they'll take that timeout, so that'll stop the clock now. And then that'll force the Broncos to punt. And then there will also be a timeout, a change of possession.
They don't have any more timeouts to call, but they'll get this one. And they'll get the one at the change of possession, as you pointed out.
Yeah, they have this one now, and then they'll get the one at change of possession. And then you have Brett Favre with, he's going to have probably just a little over a minute.
Minute 18.
And by the time he gets out there with the ball, it'll be just a little over a minute. But then you know what he can do, and we see him do it at the end of the games, and we know he can do the same thing at the end of a half.
And I'm sure the Broncos are very aware of that.
Trent Dilfer last week after Green Bay beat them and Brett Favre did it, he says, we were Favre. In this position, you can get Favre.
Bruin shanks the kick, but it takes a Bronco bounce. Desmond Howard gets out of bounds and stops the clock. Brett Favre will have a minute and 8 seconds. flag on the play. Way back at the line of scrimmage.
It's going to be holding against the Packers.
And that'll take care of all what we were talking about. Is the holding penalty will give him a first down. Unless it was after the kick.
Holding. Number 27, the receiving team, during the kick, will be a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Right, we see it right here.
Yep.
There's a holding right there. And that was after the kick, or during the kick, after the ball left the foot. So therefore it'll be tacked on the end of the return.
So it'll be against Green Bay. And they'll take it all the way back to their 17-yard line.
You know, now a lot of teams, if you were 3-3 on the road with a minute, you would just kind of take a kneel down here and run the clock out and go in and regroup at halftime. I don't think this team does that.
No,
I don't think this quarterback. No, this quarterback doesn't do that. If they keep getting penalized, you know, they may end up in their own end zone. That was one of those pointing things. They were pointing, saying that Ross Verba, the left tackle, moved. Alfred Williams was over him.
10-yard penalty was enforced in the spot where he got the ball, first down.
I didn't quite understand what he said. Was it an incorrect spot after?
He just said first down penalty, a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the first down.
Favre has some time, fires incomplete. Antonio Freeman, the intended target.
I think the key word there was fired.
Yeah.
He really did fire that thing. And he had good protection on this one because
one of the few times.
Yep, it's only a 3-man rush though, so he should have good protection because they're keeping in a back. And then, you know, when you have that type of protection, you can really step up and throw it. You know, he says one thing in all his throws, he said he always has his chin down. He said no matter where his arm is, where his feet are, if you look, the one thing he always has is his chin down.
Freeman again, the intended target, and the ball bounced off his shoulder pad.
He has so much confidence in that arm, and that arm is so strong that he is going to throw it in any hole. Just watch that. Now watch the ball. Now watch his chin come down as he throws. Right there. See how the chin come down? And then that's where he gets that torque. That's where that whole shoulder thing, hips, body, everything gets in just by bringing that chin down to the chest.
So it's 3rd and 10.
I think they would be well advised to just run this ball.
He's out of the shotgun. He's not going to do that. He might run himself. And he is hit short of the first down, I think. He helps Dale Carter up, and he just trots off.
Yep, that's Brett Favre. He ran some time off the clock in doing that, and now the Broncos should take the timeout. See, he's going to see there. Now, he knows where he has to go to get that first down. He's trying to make a spin to the inside, but couldn't do it.
And Denver has taken a timeout.
You know, Denver will take the timeout, then they'll get another timeout or clock stoppage here at change of possession, and they'll get a couple of shots.
So far, it has not been one of Brett Favre's outstanding first halves. What, 2 out of 10?
Because they haven't gotten anything started. You see that right thumb is still bothering him, but that's no excuse at all. But that's why he's wearing that pouch, and you see he keeps it in there to, you know, try and keep that thumb warm and stretched out. He said because once it gets stretched out and warm, it doesn't bother him. But sometimes it'll tighten up because he still does have quite a bit of swelling in that joint in the right thumb.
Aguilar to punt it.
That's a good one.
Yep. McGriff fields it. Is tripped and gets away and gets up. McGriff caught from behind by Scott McGarahan. Don't forget Sunday, November the 7th. The wait is over. The fall's biggest event is coming. Don't miss the most anticipated premiere of the new season, The X-Files. Sunday, November the 7th on Fox.
Brett Favre is probably thinking now that, you know, they wanted to get off to a good start, get some points, build on that, and play that type of offensive football. And I bet he's thinking now, okay, we're going to go in at halftime, and this is just going to be more of the same.
Greasy.
Because neither one of these offenses can consistently move the ball in the defense. They can move it, but they can't move it consistently to get into the end zone.
Desmond Clark is getting up slowly. Timeout, Denver.
Desmond Clark was the third tight end now. Wayne Carswell, he's the starting tight end and more the blocker. Byron Chamberlain, who we've been talking about, is more the pass receiver. And then Desmond Clark is the rookie third tight end on this team. You can see he has that hand in the pouch now, and that's just, he said that's his biggest problem is when he's not playing is keeping that thumb warm. So he does two things. He has it in the pouch, or he'll take a football and just squeeze the football or grab the football to loosen it up. I got the left hand in the pouch, and I have no idea what that means.
I don't think he does either.
Except that that's Brett Favre from Kill, Mississippi, who played high school baseball when he was in the 8th grade. Now, how you do that, I have no idea. He was on the high school baseball team. He threw the ball. He said he always had a strong arm. He was clocked or radared at 92 miles an hour in high school.
And he wasn't a pitcher. He was a third baseman. Olandis Gary gets the carry. He gets the first down. But that should just about run the Broncos out of time. And does. Been a very fast first half, it seems like, at least. And Denver seems like has had the ball the whole time. The score at Mile High Stadium is Green Bay 3 and Denver 3. In the Mile High City, Denver and Green Bay tied at 3-3. And when you have games like this, obviously you'll have a lot of things that come out very close, even close as the score.
Well, remember when
goal line stand, excuse me.
I was just going to say Byron Chamberlain stepped on the end zone and then didn't get in. So then this is a goal line stand of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they were down there on this goal line and they were just excellent. I mean, they had penetration and there was no way they were going to let the Broncos get in. That was just great goal line defense by the Packers.
They had 7 cracks at it.
And see, here's the thing that they didn't get going. They wanted to run Dorsey Levens, get some running going, and you look here, he ran 2 times to the left for a yard, 3 times in the middle for 9 yards, 2 to the right for -4. They have not gotten him started at all.
And Brett Favre has been under pressure.
Because of that. I mean, because they can't run, now the Broncos are just ganging up, they're blitzing, they're going after Brett Favre. That's what they wanted to do, make him one-dimensional and then go after him.
They just about made him no-dimensional.
Yep, in that first half, they weren't none-dimensional. But now, the second half, the Packers and the Broncos both have to start like it's a brand new game. So whatever you wanted to do at the beginning of the game, you still want to try and do now.
Longwell lines the kickoff deep into the end zone, and they bring it out to the 20.
And here's another reason that the score is tied at 3. The Broncos were going in for a score, and Brian Williams picks this one off and returns it 60 yards for great field position for the Packers to get their field goal.
So Denver takes over 1st and 10 at their own 20. Brian Greasy, the quarterback, and has been throughout the day. Bubby Brister is unavailable, not dressed. Chris Miller is the backup. McCaffrey goes in motion. The handoff is to Gary. He gets a couple of yards. And let's send you now down to DJ Johnson.
Hey, guys, I talked to Coach Shanahan at halftime. He said his team is playing nearly flawless football. They just can't get it in the end zone. And talking to Ray Rhodes, he says Denver's offense is running a lot of pick plays, getting their receivers open, and it's working. And on defense, they're blitzing Brett a lot, and his running backs are not doing a good job of picking up the rushers. So we'll see how that goes in the second half. Back to you guys.
2nd and 8. Gary outside the 25, about the 26.
You know, one thing that they're trying to do, you can see Mike Shanahan, you know, is a great play caller, and he's a great adjustment maker. And one of the ideas he has here now is to spread them out, give them 4 wide receiver look, spread them out to run inside, because he had such a difficult time running inside in the first half. He's thinking maybe if on 2nd down, if I spread them out, maybe I can get some of those defenders out of there and make a little softer inside for him.
McCaffrey comes in motion. Greasy. Incomplete. Intended for Rod Smith.
And that was good coverage there, because Brian Greasy had protection. He had time. He just couldn't find anyone to throw to.
You know, if you were talking about Mike Shanahan, the Denver coach, I was surprised how calm he was yesterday. I figured with the record being 1-4, of course they came off a victory last week. The record of 1-4 and so much expected of them. This is Terrell's team after Elway retired, and everything was supposed to be just like they continue to be a dynasty. And he was very calm and very collected about things. Look at this punt by Tom Ruin. Desmond Howard retreats to the 16. And gets out to about the 24.
Yeah, I don't think you can stay tight wound. I don't think you can stay that way all the time. I mean, you start off 0-4, you win a game, and you can't just be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week walking around tight. Somewhere you have to loosen up.
Unwind, they call it. Difficult to do. Back, Green Bay has the ball. Dorsey Levens gets the carry, and as the day has gone for him, not much.
Did you see that mountain there?
Yes.
I think if you're a mountain climber, climb that mountain.
Do you ever have a desire to do that? You ever want to climb a mountain?
No, I never wanted to climb a mountain. I'd like to, you know, be up there. I'd like to get up there to the top.
No,
somewhere.
you wouldn't.
But no, I mean, just sit up there and look around and, you know, and just see the world and look down at the clouds. But I never want to climb up there.
Pass is picked off. Eric Brown. He dropped it, came loose, and the Broncos got it back. Glenn Cadrez came up with it.
Eric Brown, remember, he was the guy that said they were going to go after Brett Favre. They were going to get into his head. They were going to go after his thumb. Mike Shanahan said, what in the heck were you thinking? He read Brett Favre perfectly that time.
Yes, he did.
I don't know if he fumbled that ball or if he tried to lateral it.
I think he
the first
tried to
time.
lateral it. He threw it backwards.
If he fumbled it, it was okay. If he tried to lateral it, it was dumb. So I think if I would, you know, if I were him, I would go and say, I fumbled that.
Well,
because if he tries to lateral that, that's dumb. It just came out of his hands, so that wasn't dumb. Came out of his hands twice.
Avery, beg your pardon, Howard Griffith gets the ball carried.
Yeah, the Broncos get another chance to put one in here. Green Bay Packer defense gets another chance for a goal line stand or to keep them out. They've done well, you know, so far. I mean, the one time I mentioned earlier a number of times that Byron Chamberlain on a bootleg pass did have a touchdown, but he stepped on the end line. And then they got down there, and then they were on the 1 yard line, and they had a penalty, so part of it was bent them.
Griffith again, not much again.
I don't think that you're going to find much right in there if you just hand it to your fullback straight ahead. Mike Shanahan over the years has been one of the most aggressive play callers in the game, but that call was not an aggressive call unless he's thinking that he's going to set something up later off that play.
The call like that, he's going to set up a field goal.
Yeah, just putting your fullback straight up in mid. I mean, if there's any strength to this Green Bay Packer defense, it is right up there. Although Gilbert Brown isn't in there.
Here's Greasy. Man open in the end zone. Ed McCaffrey, and that's touchdown. He got the feet down, and he made sure. And I don't know how he came so open, but he was wide open.
Yeah, you know, Ray Rhodes was talking about picks. We'll see if this was a pick or not. It looked like to me that he just comes wide open. They're playing a form of a zone defense, and there's no pick there. He starts inside, then he goes outside to hold that corner, and then he comes back inside. But again, he gets both feet down. Good pass pattern by Ed McCaffrey. Excellent pass protection.
And the extra point by Jason Elam is good. It's 10-3. Green Bay's turned it over twice, both interceptions.
You know, we said that Ed McCaffrey made a nice pass pattern, and Ryan Greasy makes a nice pass or a nice throw, but look at this protection. This is where it all starts. I mean, that's a pocket, and they form it right around Brian Greasy so he can look, find a passing lane, and just step up and throw it to Ed McCaffrey.
And it was a move by McCaffrey, a good move that got him so open. No picks.
No, and the Packers were playing zone defense, and I don't know how you can play zone down there in the goal line.
It's Desmond Howard out to about the 26.
As you said, McCaffrey made a heck of a move because they had the corner outside. He moved into the corner to hold him there and then came back into the post.
Antonio Freeman's been thrown at 6 times. No catches yet. 2 drops.
And remember that one big drop. I mean, that could have got him started, where Brett Favre kind of scrambled out to his left and Freeman was wide open and he hit him. He just dropped the ball, and Freeman really hasn't recovered from that, and the Packer offense hasn't recovered from that.
Henderson in front of Levens, deep behind Favre. He's going to throw on first down and wheels it up to Schrader. Out of bounds.
You know, in our pregame show, we had Pam Oliver had a story of the wide receivers of the Green Bay Packers and how it's not all Brett Favre, but what a great job that Bill Schrader's done. Corey Bradford, he stepped in and played, and of course Antonio Freeman is the guy and the go-to guy. And if they're going to get their running game going, we know it has to be Dorsey Levens. The passing game has to be Antonio Freeman.
Well, he's going to try right here. Good coverage by Dale Carter. He was right with him from the beginning.
Yeah, we were talking to Greg Robinson yesterday, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos. He was saying that Dale Carter had a slow start here, and he said, sometimes these free agents come in and it takes them a while to get into a new team, a new locker room, a new system, new guys that you're playing with. And he said he felt for the first 3 or 4 games that Dale Carter wasn't in sync. And he said he felt last week against the Raiders was the first game that he got in sync.
Freeman is out to the left by himself. Schrader split wide right. Favre looking. Incomplete. High and incomplete.
Brett Favre, we talk about being in sync or not being in sync or whatever, but he hasn't gotten started yet today. And I'll say this, I mean, he's had a couple dropped on him, but his receivers aren't getting wide open either. Bradford
was the intended receiver that time, but he had no chance to catch it. That was way over his head.
When you look at that, only 2 completions. That's not a Brett Favre type day because, like I said before the game, and I've always said, I think Brett Favre is the best player in the National Football League. And I think a lot of people agree with that. I mean, that's not a singular thought.
Aguiar chases Travis McGriff all the way back inside his 20. McGriff knocked out of bounds at about the 35. You were absolutely right. It hasn't been a vintage Brett Favre we've seen today. Coming up next, it's pivotal game 4 of the ALCS as Nomar Garciaparra and the Red Sox try to even the series against the Yankees. Andy Pettitte will pitch for the Yankees against Brett Saberhagen. Live from historic Fenway Park at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox.
Yeah, I've always thought that Lambeau Field ought to be a shrine for pro football. Fenway Park ought to be a shrine for baseball.
Gary gets close to midfield. The old counter play.
Yep, that's that option pitch that the Raiders ran about a month ago, and now everyone is copying it. And what they do is they take the fullback this way, and then they just option this end right here. They don't block him. They let him go. They want him to turn in this way, and if he is, they're going to run right around him. See, once he gets cocked in like that, they can put the fullback that way and just outrun him to the corner. And that's exactly what they do. He just runs right around that guy and right out of the frame.
Nobody blocked it. First down. Straight ahead is Howard Griffith. Got maybe 3.
That's one of the things that you try and do with your running game with that play, where you can get him outside, then you can hold that end on the outside because he's worried about that play. Then you can try and run the ball inside.
With your fullback, as the Broncos just did. Second down.
Doesn't it just seem strange to be here at Mile High Stadium and doing a game in which John Elway's not the quarterback?
Hasn't happened since 1983. I bet James he didn't play. Greasy threw it on the ground. That's going to be grounding.
That is grounding.
Bonnie Holiday had him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was outside that tight end box or not, but even if he were, he didn't get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. He just threw it down. I was talking to his dad, Bob Greasy, said one of the things he did talk to him about was the bootleg, how to make a fake first.
The quarterback was out of the pocket. It's an incomplete pass. Third down.
He was out of the pocket.
So then they're saying that it's not a
grounding,
because he was outside. Now it has to be outside where the tight ends would line up. Now he could throw the ball away, but the other part of that rule is the ball has to go back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, now watch it here. I'm not sure he's outside where the end would be.
Well, he's very close to it. See, right there, he probably is, but he throws that ball down into the ground. You see, now here's a tight end here, and here's a tight end here. So if the quarterback, once he gets out here, he can, on either side, he can intentionally ground the ball. If he's in this area where he stays in the pocket, he can't.
Even though he's out of the pocket, he threw it directly to the ground. It'll be lost down at the spot where he threw it.
Yeah, okay, well, that was right. Well, that's just what we're talking about, that he didn't get it back to the line of scrimmage. He just threw it right into the ground. You see, now he can intentionally ground it there, but the ball has to go forward to the line of scrimmage. He just threw it in the ground.
Give some credit to Bonnie Holiday, who was back there wrestling with him.
Well, so they had the right call, then they switched it to the wrong call, and then they bring it back and they get it right, which is what we're all here for anyway.
It's the back where he grounded it, plus it's the loss of a down. So it's 3rd and 18. That's correct. Greasy out of the shotgun. Retreats, 3-man rush, gets it underneath to his tight end Byron Chamberlain. 50-yard line. Broncos will have to punt.
Yeah, but that does buy him some better field position. I mean, there was no way, you know, when he was 3rd and 20, there was no way he's going to get a first down there. But just by picking up that safe thing there, getting the ball back to midfield, now he allows his punter a chance to pin the Packers inside the 10-yard line.
A few years ago, Desmond Howard, who returns the kicks for the Packers, was an awesome weapon.
He sure doesn't look like one anymore, though, does he?
This is some kick by Ruin.
That's too much of a kick.
Sails out of the end zone, and they'll bring it back to the 20.
That was a terrible kick by Ruin in that situation.
Too much, as you said. 10-3. Some view, isn't it?
Yeah, if a person did climb that mountain I was talking about, that's the view they'd have when they got up there. Be looking down at the clouds.
Levens goes in motion. Favre gets it underneath to to Antonio Freeman.
And that's his first completion. You know, since the first quarter until that pass, Brett Favre was 0 for 9 and 2 interceptions.
If you got up there in that on the side of that mountain and we're looking down at that site, what would you be doing? Just looking?
No, I would just be you know thinking about what was going on and just watching everything below.
Not what's going on.
No, well, below. I mean, there's stuff going on. I mean, there's people playing games. This game here, the Red Sox and the Yankees tonight. I'd be thinking about that. Fenway Park. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't. But you'd be up there just looking, thinking,
and yodeling,
singing Edelweiss. That could be a catch by Corey Bradford.
Yeah, that's the speed we were talking about. Corey Bradford, the type of guy that when he runs fast, his head may bob or may not bob, but it doesn't look like it's bobbing here. He has that head perfect. And Brett Favre throws a perfect pass too. That whole thing. I mean, that starts with protection. It's the throw. It's the catch. It's the whole deal.
He got his hand and arm underneath.
Boy, has he been making big plays. That was one of the things we were talking about in the pregame show that they were talking about. But it's not all Brett Favre. It's guys like Corey Bradford making plays like that.
Flag on the play. Favre drops it out for his tight end, I believe. Incomplete for Tyrone Davis, and Davis is down.
I think he's saying that's complete, Pat.
Somebody jumped back before the play ever started. Tyrone Davis is down.
The official said that that's a complete pass, and I just heard him say he had both feet in.
He might have fallen on the ball.
The way the officials are, they don't look like a lot of clarity there, or a lot of people assured of what they're called.
Offsides. Defense. Number 91.
Free play.
That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a completed pass at the half-yard line.
Completed pass. You're absolutely right. At the half-yard line.
The ball was already snapped at the
Romanowski's with him.
challenge was started.
Yep. You see, and he did get both
he
feet
did.
in. And then they said that he fumbled, but it didn't make any difference because he had control of it and both feet in before he went out of bounds is what the ruling is.
Davis
now,
back
they can challenge this play. They can challenge this call, but they have to do it before it's snapped. Romanowski is yelling to his bench to challenge it. He said that he never had control of the ball. So they're coming over here, and I think Mike Shanahan is challenging this play.
Here comes Tom White.
Yep, he's coming over to ask Mike Shanahan what he's challenging. I think Bill Romanowski talked Mike Shanahan into this challenge.
Here's another look at it. Romanowski's got his arm in there. Now he's got control. Knees in.
Okay, now the feet don't matter.
One knee equals.
That the pass was complete at the half-yard line.
And what they're saying is that they called him down, that the knee was down and that the ball is in, and that's not challengeable anyway because he had called him. He said he was down and in.
One knee equals 2 feet.
2 feet, yeah, that was, in fact, I think when we first heard about that rule, I thought the guy had to have both feet in, and it was Art McNally called up and says, no, one knee equals 2 feet.
Denver has asked, I believe, for a review, however.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're going to get anything here, although they are reviewing the play.
Tom White's got the headset on, but it doesn't time. The time doesn't start until after he looks in. Now should be started.
And then he's going to look and he's going to see the same thing that we saw. The catch in the one knee. You see, here's the catch. Now he has control, and now the one knee. Now he's down right there. So whatever happens after that, it doesn't make any difference.
Still got the ball. Now it comes loose.
Now this is the first thing that they look at. This was the play-by-play. They record this. This is the first thing that they look at. No, that's not. That one's not going to be as good as that last one.
The previous
review.
one.
Yeah.
The previous one.
Now, if they had ruled that he was down by contact or that he was down, then that wouldn't be reviewable. But because it is a line, a borderline, then this is reviewable.
This is the best
challengeable.
This is the best view.
The ruling on the field stands. The catch is completed. The receiver's knee is down in bounds prior to going out of bounds. First down.
Yep, he ruled the same thing, that the knee was in bounds. And then when he did fumble, it was after he was out of bounds, but he had the knee down before he went out and control of the ball.
And Denver is charged with a timeout.
Because they challenged and didn't win the challenge.
That's right.
They challenged and won the challenge, then they wouldn't have been charged with a timeout.
So they only have 2 left in this half.
Brett Favre made a couple of pretty good throws on this one.
Yes,
That
he
one
did.
to Corey Bradford, and then that one right there to Tyrone Davis.
Well, you know, we've talked about this before. That's another quality that Brett Favre has. He can throw an interception. He can make a bad throw, and he comes right back.
Yep, he has a short memory.
Yep.
And I think cornerbacks and quarterbacks have to have a short memory or no memory.
Levin standing up, scores the touchdown.
Ray Rhodes is saying that's more like it. We finally got started. You know, with Brett Favre, I mean, he was going to a point where nothing was going his way, but you know, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
I mean, this guy is too good a football player, and you're not going to hold him down. Here, Big Joe at Druzy pulls out. He makes a heck of a block right there. He gets a kick out. Dorsey Levin just cuts right off at Druzy's block.
Favre was 3 for 3 on the drive. Dorsey Levin scored the touchdown. To tie it, Longwell does. 10-10.
And the handoff, Joe Andruzzi pulling out. Levin's running right off Andruzzi's block.
The mile-high city of Denver. 10-10 score. For the latest NFL information right up to kickoff, make sure the Fox NFL Sunday is on your agenda. Join Terry, Howie, JB, and Chris for the most animated pregame show on television. Fox NFL Sunday is live from Dallas next week at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. John Avery to the 22. When the pregame show arrives on the scene, they come with all kinds of equipment and an entourage.
You know what's like being up there in the mountain that I was saying and watching?
Yeah.
When you're like Howie Long here and you're getting made up in public, you get to a point you don't care.
Well, Howie's an actor.
Yeah, but did you see when you really know you haven't made? JB was there in the corner
With a fan.
and he had a fan on him. He had a guy holding a fan right on him. Man, that's like being on the mountain. It's Darius Johnson.
Yeah.
See, he was out there blocking front, and he just gets rolled up upon.
It's funny how you get used to things, you know, John. When the Broncos first premiered these uniforms, I thought they were horrible.
So did I.
And the more you see them, the better looking they are.
And the more they win with them. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. They come out and they say, oh, geez, look at these things, these uniforms. Look at, and then they win a Super Bowl and say, man, they're pretty cute.
Yeah, here's Greasy. Under pressure. Flips it upfield to McCaffrey. He makes the catch. McCaffrey. A heck of an effort. McCaffrey breaks away from everybody and scores for Denver. That'll be in a lot of highlight film.
Now that is an effort. That is a football player. I mean, there was a guy who caught a pass and would not be denied the end zone. That's why Ed McCaffrey is Ed McCaffrey. He's a self-made wide receiver, one of the best in football, but he has, look at the determination that he has here.
This is something.
First he gets spin around, and then he adjusts, and he goes on the up. He makes a heck of a catch here. Now watch, Darren Sharper's going to try and tackle him here. He straight arms him, straight arms him, straight arms him. He is not going to be denied that end zone.
Touchdown, Denver.
Woo.
What an effort by McCaffrey. 78 yards. There's Bob Greasy. Right now, for an update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, take a look at Carolina. Boy, Burline back. Take a look at this toss here to Patrick Jeffers. Great-looking grab. 33 yards to pay dirt. Second touchdown reception of the day for Jeffers. 31-16. Carolina over San Fran. Back to Pat and John.
The proud father, Bob Greasy, Brian Greasy, and the effort by Ed McCaffrey.
Well, watch, it's a play fake here. Now, Brian Greasy here, see, when he starts to scramble there, that's when Ed McCaffrey makes that adjustment.
Yeah.
McCaffrey was running an out. And then when your quarterback scrambles, you adjust to an up. So that out became an up, and then Brian Greasy hit him with the ball, and McCaffrey was not to be denied. You see here, when he scrambles here, now McCaffrey changes his out to an up. And Brian Greasy throws a perfect throw on the run. Watch this effort. I know we don't make all Madden team selections yet, but that play and that guy have to be on it.
You may see that again.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, there's just some things when you play like a pro with determination like that, that's the way the game should be played.
Desmond Howard deep for Elam's kickoff, and here's Desmond Howard. Let's look at that touchdown play again.
Again, here's the catch part of it, but the part that I like about it is the determination here. I mean the straight arm and just keep pushing him off. Darren Sharper just kept working with him. In fact, he has his face mask. He's almost down there. Then he pulls his hand out, and that was some effort. But the other part of that I like is the adjustment when he saw Greasy scramble to go deep.
Well, it's 17-10 Denver all of a sudden.
Denver had 12 men up. They caught him. I was just going to say Denver had 12 men on the field on defense, Pat, and they didn't catch him. And then I saw an official throw a flag, so I would bet that they did catch him.
Henderson got to carry his first of the day.
Men on the field. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
5-yard penalty.
See, they have the. See, you can see right here where he's trying to get off, and he didn't. Oh, right here. Here he is, right there. That's what I was looking for.
That's Chris Watson trying to get out of there. Didn't make it in time. First and 5, Green Bay. 5:50 left to play in the third quarter. Favre drops the throw. Pass is picked off. Favre threw it high. Ray Crockett comes up with the interception.
If he was trying to get the ball to Antonio Freeman, I'm sure that's one of the things that he talked about in the sideline, and then Antonio Freeman talked about, the coaches talked about. But it's also one of the things that the Denver defense talked about. You see, this one just got away from him a little. I mean, Freeman was open, and he just throws it over his head.
Yep, over his hands.
Ray Crockett was right there to get it.
Yep.
That should have been a completion. That was an interception, but that was just a bad throw by Brett Favre.
Denver with a chance now to break this thing open. First and 10 at the Green Bay 32. No gain by Gary. Maybe a yard.
Yeah, this Denver Bronco defense has done about exactly what they tried to do. You know, I mean, their whole game plan was to come in, stop the run so they didn't have to deal with Dorsey Levens and the run, and then just take their whole effort and go after Brett Favre in the passing game, and they've done an excellent job today.
2nd and 10. A jump. Greasy's going with the free play. Incomplete. Intended McCaffrey.
And that's the thing to do, and that's what a real veteran quarterback does. As you say, when he gets that free play, you don't go for a little dink or a little dump off. You go for the deep one and try and hit him big, because you can get a touchdown out of that, a big completion, or you can even have a chance at a pass interference.
Offsides. Number 96. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Vaughn Booker jumped early.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, he did. I don't know if Brian Greasy uses a hard count. We showed a picture of his proud father here, Bob Greasy, and Bob Greasy was the best at drawing you off sides on a hard count, I think, that ever played the game.
If you got a penalty, he'd get it back.
Every time. And you know he was going to do it, and you tell your guys to do it, and he'd still do it.
Orlando Scary, flag on the play.
And that's when the referee throws it at the offensive line, just like before. This will be offensive holding against the Broncos. Same referee throwing the flag at the same guy, and you know what the call is going to be.
Holding. Number 66. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And it was the same referee throwing at the same guy. Tom Nail in the center.
Fox Sports is going to get you on.
Before the game, the Denver players' wives
Donate to the Bronco Wives Food Drive. A bucket
were
free
collecting
to eat.
cans of soup and other items. That's Ray Crockett's wife. Money, whatever you'd like to contribute.
Ray Crockett's wife was out there picking up stuff before the game, and then Ray Crockett picks off something during the game.
Greasy throws to Gary.
You know, part of this is real determination on the Broncos' part of running and stuff. And another part of it, if you look at it from the Packers' side, their tackling hasn't been sharp today. I mean, they've missed a heck of a lot of tackle. We saw what McCaffrey does, and we see here where guys are just bouncing off these Broncos. This Orlando Scary is a powerful guy. I mean, just look at him coming here. His arms, his shoulders, his legs. He knows how when you get hit, he puts the ball away, gets those shoulders down.
He gets the carry on first down and rambles inside the 10. Stopped again by the safety, Darren Sharper.
And you know, that's not a good thing when your safety's making the tackles, because to get to the safeties, you have to be getting by the defensive line and the linebackers.
Here comes the load.
Well, you wonder why he wasn't in there before. I mean, that's always been my thing. When they're going and they're going to run the ball, why are you resting him? They say that he's playing more plays now, 42 to 43 plays, but I think in these situations, your run stopper has to be in there.
Every play. McCaffrey, did you see Gary get hit on the fake? I hope we have another chance to get that.
That's the thing. When you do a good fake, you're going to get hit like that. And Orlando Scary went in there, and he really takes a shot. Here he is right here. And when you make a good fake, you're going to get hit. I watch him. He comes in, and he didn't make such a good fake. He was just standing up.
Whoa.
He learned the lesson right there. Don't take your eyes off anything until the whistle blows. But McCaffrey had another heck of a straight arm on that.
Yeah,
run.
he did.
It's Tyrone Williams.
Gary to about the 2. That Packer defense has got to be tired. They've been out there a long time today.
Yeah, and and part of it is because the efficiency of the Bronco offense, and part of it is the inefficiency of their own offense to keep them off the field. I mean, there's a heck of a lot more 3 and outs than you ever remember from a Packer team.
2nd and goal just outside the 2.
And every time you look at that time of possession, look at it right here. That means that's the offense is on the field that much time, but you know that the opponent defense is on the field that much time.
This is a Denver timeout, so that means they only have 1 left.
Well, you were talking about that Mike Shanahan was kind of calm yesterday, and Ryan Greasy was very calm.
Yeah.
And I think that you need that. I mean, if you have a young quarterback, I think that you have to, have some confidence in him, and he has to have confidence in himself, and the players have to get confidence, and you feel that that is coming. Here's the other thing you feel in coming, Pat. Look at this. Right over here is the new stadium that they're building here. Now, what they're going to do is build that stadium. Then they're going to take this stadium, the existing stadium, tear it down, and that'll be a parking lot along with the arena over here. Here's McNichols Arena. That's going to be torn down. So that and this will all be parking lot for that, if that makes sense.
That's a good equation. Here's Gary again. Doesn't get in again. Darren Sharper up to hit him first.
I like Olandis Gary, and I like the things that he does and the toughness and all those things, but right now he is not a great short yardage and goal line runner. I mean, he gets in there, and it's not about toughness, it's not about staying low, it's not about a lot of things, it's about a feel. I mean, on every goal line defense, there's going to be a soft spot, and you just have to feel where that soft spot is. He's just running in there with abandon.
3rd and goal, a short one. And he does it. Yes, he does.
That's not bad abandon.
No. He was hit and kept going. He puts Denver further ahead.
And we said, here he is. He's going to run to the left here, and he's just going to take it. And he's going to get his first NFL touchdown right there by 1, getting his shoulder pads low, and 2, driving his legs.
Elam for the extra point, which is good. And the Broncos move further ahead.
Yeah, who would have thought after they lost Terrell Davis and then Derek Lavelle is his backup, he pulls a hamstring, then you have your rookie 4th round draft choice, but this is a tough kid, and he is running down here with determination. Look, he has his eyes open, puts his head down there, shoulders down, and then this last drive right there is what got the touchdown for him.
Right.
Because he was denied at the other end in the first half, and he's probably fought about it since then.
That was not your favorite horse when you were coaching.
That and the one at Kansas City, because I mean, if you're the opponent, they bring that horse out to run up and down the field when they score. One time we were in Kansas City, and they were blowing us out. I mean, they had like 48, 50, 60 points. They had a horse called War Paint.
Yep, I remember War Paint.
Yeah, and we darn near killed War Paint. I mean, they scored so much against us. The War Paint at the end, his tongue was dragging. And he could hardly gallop. And instead of going all the length of the field, the last time they scored, War Paint just went to the 50 and back.
That horse just yawned.
Oh yeah, I mean this is easy work. I mean that's what, the third time that horse has been out there today. No, fourth.
Fourth.
Well, fourth. That's just an average day's work for a horse like that, a football horse.
Elam kicks off to Desmond Howard. Tripped up at about the 18 by Darius Johnson.
And we talked about what an unlikely day this is for Brett Favre. Just look at his numbers and his quarterback rating. His quarterback rating is minus 19.68. Wow. I don't think they had him that low to go minus. There was the interception, remember, by Dale Carter. There was the other interception that was almost fumbled and brought back.
And the final one by Ray Crockett. Dorsey Lovins takes the pass from Favre. Nate Wayne out to make the stop. Levens they've kept under control entirely.
You know, when we were talking to Greg Robinson yesterday, he quoted the art of war. He said, "You never give yourself an escape route." So that was basically what they were going. You know that we're 0-4, and then we win a game. Now we're 1-4, but you just play. You go out and you play hard, and you don't have an out. You don't have an excuse. You don't have an escape route. They're playing that way.
Levens from behind by Nate Wayne again.
Well, Nate Wayne is a nickel linebacker. When they get, when they expect a pass, Nate Wayne is in there. And you can just see that they have extra linebackers in there. There's Wayne. All of them can run. When you get a guy in there that is a pass defending linebacker, if you run and you run like a sweep, he is going to catch you.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score of the Broncos 24, the Packers 10. Ready to start the fourth quarter. Denver 24, Green Bay 10. 21 quick points by Denver.
But this is the Green Bay Packers' best quarter of football so far, the fourth quarter.
Favre scrambled, left the ball back behind him. And I think Levens fell on it. No, I beg your pardon. Mike Wall fell on it.
Mike Wall, he starting left guard, playing right tackle today. Brett Favre does all those things, and even he says that you don't do things that I do. But watch how he has the ball down, and that one just slipped out of his hand.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that's because of his grip. That he doesn't have the strength in that thumb, and then he puts the ball down like that, and he just squeezed it, and it just squeezed right out of his hand.
Aguiar gets off a good punt, chases McCriff way back to the 20, back to the 17, and he's taken down there by Corey Bradford. This Bradford on special teams is amazing.
That's what speed does.
Yep. I don't see one.
There was a flag over there there was a flag thrown on the 50-yard line. Tom White, the referee's got a lot of microphone time today, hasn't
Yes, he does. A busy day.
It's a 64-yard punt. I mean, one of the things that have been bothering the Packers was their punting. Louis Aguiar has had a good game today.
Changed his form a little bit during the week.
Changed his drop and slowed him down a little.
Holding, number 29, during the kick, half the distance to the goal. That'll be a first down. Timeout.
So the Broncos take over. Denver 24, Green Bay 10, 14:07 left in the contest. Greasy gives to Orlando Scary. And the Packers need a turnover.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about Ed McCaffrey and how well he plays and how he copied a lot when he was with the 49ers and Jerry Rice and even the way he dresses. But he does another thing. He cuts the toes out of his shoes. And he said that way he can wear a small, you see right here, the toe is sticking out of the end of the shoe. He said then he can wear a shoe that is half a size smaller and not get turf toe and be lighter. Now, that doesn't make sense to a big old heavy lineman, but for a wide receiver it does.
2nd and 8. Gary doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. Bernardo Harris first to hit him.
There's so many things that you think of. I mean, and McCaffrey was saying, you see there how his toes stick out. He said that that he not only tried to copy Jerry Rice the way he caught the ball and ran pass patterns, but the way he acted in the locker room, the way he practiced, the way he dressed. He said he used to watch him dress and try and dress like him. And if you want to be like someone, you want to be like him all the way.
Couldn't copy his speed quite, but he's fast enough. Byron Chamberlain streaking down into Green Bay territory. Chase still on his feet as Chamberlain still down inside the 5.
Boy, did they catch him with that.
Didn't they, though?
That was the thing that Mike Shanahan said that he wanted to do. He wanted to do some of that shovel pass. He wanted to do some draw things, some stuff like that that he'll do up in the middle. And you see, Chamberlain is right here. He's in the backfield. And you see, he starts out there, and he just runs a shovel pass. They think they have Brian Griese, and Chamberlain just comes across. Now, usually the tight end is on the line of scrimmage or is spread out. That time they put Byron Chamberlain in the backfield and ran the shovel pass to him.
88 yards by Chamberlain, shovel from Griese.
And Griese is showing emotion. He said, we got him on that one. That's one where you kind of laugh because that's a trick play.
Yeah.
You're putting the tight end in the backfield and doing a shovel pass, and you practice, you wonder if it'll ever work, and it works, and you just laugh.
(24-10).
Tough for our camera people today, you see. Carmen got that chin hit there. Got a Band-Aid there.
Band-Aid on the chin.
Had some blood on it. The nose was bleeding.
Just remind us it's
tough out there.
Today is Chamberlain's birthday. Gary.
Byron Chamberlain, he ran that ball 88 yards.
Yeah.
And that was that trick play, and that was what everyone was so happy about. And as you say, Carmen reminded us that not only did he run the ball 88 yards on the trick play, the Packers never did see that play.
No.
But it was also Byron Chamberlain's birthday today.
About the only one who did see it was Carmen.
That was Byron Chamberlain's birthday present.
Pretty good present. Griese rolls, chased, incomplete, deflected. Keith McKenzie got a hand up.
Yeah, I was talking earlier about that bootleg pass from Brian Griese when Bob Griese was in here. Brian's dad, you know, the great quarterback years ago for the Miami Dolphins, quarterback the only undefeated team in football. There's Bob Griese right there. He was telling me that he doesn't talk a lot of X and O's, but one thing he does tell Brian is to get in the huddle, get up to the line of scrimmage quickly, and when you bootleg, fake before you throw. You know, you come out there in the bootleg, just don't come running out, but you got the ball, use the ball to fake and then throw.
Third and goal.
Griese didn't do it that last time. That was the other trick.
Yeah.
That was the same play.
And that was Griese.
I know, but they put Byron Chamberlain in the backfield again, and they faked the play to him, and then Griese just followed him in. That's the darndest thing I've ever seen. Watch, here he is here. Now he's going to fake the shovel pass here. See like that? And then Chamberlain's going to be his lead blocker, so it's going to be fake shovel pass middle, run middle by quarterback. Whew.
That just about put it away.
That was said Mike Shanahan was an aggressive play caller, and he has been the second half.
Elam's extra point is good. 31-10. In Denver, the Broncos leading Green Bay 31-10. It was 3-3 at the half, and things started to happen.
Yeah, the Broncos scored 28 points in the second half, 21 straight.
Desmond Howard to the 25.
Brian Griese's had a big day today, but his target has been Ed McCaffrey. There's that first touchdown when he ran that post in the end zone.
There's Dorsey Levens, Green Bay's only touchdown.
And here is great effort. Watch this effort by Ed McCaffrey. I mean, he is not to be denied getting into this end zone. That's football.
Here's Greasy's touchdown.
Well, after he had hit that one to Byron Chamberlain on that shuffle pass, he lined up the same way and just followed him in with a run.
Favre to Schrader. Enough for a Green Bay first down. Torrey James made the stop.
And Brett Favre has to start his hurry-up offense with 10 and a half minutes here to go because he's down by 21 points. I mean, he needs 3 scores here, so this isn't like those 3 come from behind. He has to come from 21 points down now.
And a lot of flags on this play.
What happened to your granddad years ago?
He was whipsawed.
Number 68 offense.
Years ago.
I think the Green Bay Packers are being whipsawed here. I think they walked into a whipsaw.
Yep.
They didn't see this one coming.
Disguised as shuttle passes, and Brian Greasy in a great, so far, Denver defense. 1st and 15. Favre just got it to Levens. Incomplete.
Evans looked like that thing clunked him.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a Brett Favre type day, but I'll tell you, it's also superb defense by this Denver Bronco team.
It really is.
They came in here. They said they were going to take Dorsey Levens out and then just concentrate on Favre, and they've done exactly that.
Favre. Incomplete. Antonio Freeman, I believe, was the target.
Well, there were 4 defenders out there and only 1 receiver. You can see that was a play before that, Brett Favre is looking and looking as long as he can, and he's feeling the pressure, and he has to get rid of the ball. Watch the defenders out there. This is what he threw into the last time, and this is a zone defense, and you see that they have everything surrounded, and he just threw that into the zone. Brett Favre is the ultimate pro, and he's been in the league for 9 years, but look what they did to him. They only sacked him 1 time, hurried him 7 times, knocked him down 5 times, intercepted him 3 times. So they came in with a plan to get after Brett Favre, and they have gotten after Brett Favre.
You don't often see him look frustrated, but he looks frustrated.
I was just going to say that. He's a 9-year pro. And
Denver is out of timeouts, and the whistle is blown. They're not charged a timeout. It's still 3rd down. Here we go.
But you're right. He does look frustrated. And there's a guy, Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, who caused some of that frustration.
Yep. They put in mass substitutions. Denver does. 4-man rush. Favre has the ball batted back to him and past him.
I think that was
Keith Traylor.
Yeah, that was big Keith Traylor. He's the tackle, and he was on what they call a stunt, where you bring your end inside and tackle outside. Keith Traylor came to the outside. He was an old linebacker. Both these defensive tackles, Trevor Price and Keith Traylor, were linebackers in college.
Drew,
watch him. He's gonna come around. You see, the end goes in, and he comes around to the outside, and he just knocked that ball down. I mean, he looked like an athlete on that thing. He even got off the ground a little.
Aguiar back to punt. And Travis McGriff, the rookie from Florida Bank, standing at about the 18-20. Aguiar's kick will be returned by McGriff from the 18. Still on his feet. And McGriff now has got some room. Aguiar helps to knock him out of bounds. Look at the time of possession on Green Bay's. Greg Robinson talking to the Denver defensive unit. Don't forget, coming up next, Game 4, the Yankees-Red Sox at Fenway Park in Boston. That's a great place to watch a game.
Well, like I said, I think Lambeau Field is the shrine to football, and Fenway Park the shrine to baseball.
And Wrigley Field. Gary.
We talked about Brian Greasy and how cool and calm he's been. I mean, just watch how he's in this pocket. Now he's moving out and throwing passes. This was a great effort here. I mean, here then he runs this quarterback draw in there, and this is one of the things that he wanted to do, and it's one of the things Mike Shanahan wanted to get for Brian Greasy that they added this week is some more quarterback movement plays that are called or organized.
Give him a chance to make some plays, they said. Gary is taken behind the line of scrimmage.
You know, he said the first couple of games he played, he said he was just trying to not make any mistakes, and now he's trying to make plays. There's Bubby Brister, who was, you know, the starting quarterback when they went to training camp.
Right.
And then replaced in training camp in the preseason by Brian Greasy. And then was going to replace Brian Greasy. And then last Friday he pulled an oblique muscle in his side. The oblique, I guess, is a muscle that is just above the hip,
below the ribs,
and he can't throw, and it's on his left side there. And I was at practice Friday, and he tried to throw, and he just couldn't throw at all.
Number 95, defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. That's a first down.
He may be. Who is that guy? Luke Gehrig.
Yeah. Was it Wally Pipp?
Yeah, Wally Pipp. I mean, that could be the type of thing. He was going to be the starter, but now with the way Brian Greasy is playing, and it looks like the Broncos are going to win 2 in a row here. I don't know that Bubby Brister is going to be the starter when he says his oblique is better.
Olandis Gary. Those guys there have done an excellent job as well.
Yeah, we talked about Brian Greasy, but these guys gave him the time. You know, Tony Jones, the left tackle, Mark Schlereth, it seems like he's been playing forever. Remember with the Redskins?
Yep, sure does.
Big, strong guy. Tom Nalen, one of the best centers in football. This is really the strength of their offensive line, this group. Dan Neal, the right guard, and then Matt Lepses, who is starting for the first time this year for the Broncos. He's a new starter. He replaced Harry Swain, who played for him last year.
2nd and 3. Gary again. Gets past the yellow line. Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roy. The associate broadcasters are Charles McDonald and Mark Mata. Technical producer Bob Mueller. Pre-game show is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. 31-10, Denver leads Green Bay at the Mile High City. Gary again crosses the Green Bay 40.
Yeah, I was looking at Olandis Gary on film last week, and I saw if you look at all the Broncos, they all have the elbow pads, like blue elbow pads, and he wears white elbow pads. I thought maybe he brought his own, or being a rookie, they didn't give him the good stuff. Because if you look at all the linemen, they all have like the blue ones, see? And so I asked him, I said, where'd you get? And he said, well, the other guys go to the equipment room. He said, I got mine in the training room.
From the trainer, yeah.
So those are Olandis Gary is wearing training room things. They aren't even pads. They're just like bandages on his elbow.
He's got over 100 yards. He just lost a couple. He had 109. So just wraps. Those not pads.
No, he said he liked those pads because they were tighter. I don't think they're not even pads.
No.
And then they're not tight either, because he said he liked them because they don't keep falling down. They've fallen down, but the job that he's done today, I mean, he's been a warrior out there. He doesn't know this whole offense. He doesn't know this whole defense. He doesn't know this whole pro football. But when you gain 107 yards against the Packers, you've done something.
He got more than that now. He's
getting more.
Got another first down for the Broncos.
He was telling me that Howard Griffith told him, the fullback who lead blocks for him. He said that there are 3 levels of intensity in this league. He said there's preseason, and he thought that was pretty hard. And then he said there's regular season, and then there's postseason intensity. And he said each time you get to another level, everyone else kicks it up another notch.
And one level he hasn't seen yet.
And he said he didn't know there was any more notches to be kicked up.
He gets another carry. Stays on his feet fighting. Maybe gets a couple yards out of that battle.
Wilbert Brown is
tired.
Slowly getting up. I think that's the word is tired. And again, we talk about that time of possession, and that's just the the offensive time of possession. But that Packer defense has been on the field a heck of a long time, and this guy is getting a big ovation by these Denver Bronco fans.
Replaced by Gary.
He has done a job. He can't even see out of one eye now. He's like he just came out of a 12-round fight.
There's Griffin. Straight ahead. He's got more carries than normal.
You know, he had 35 carries, Pat. You wouldn't believe that, but that's the second most in Bronco history. The most was 42, and Terrell Davis has that. And Olandis Gary is going back in. He may get closer.
Well, we get 35 carries. They've had the ball all day, it seems like.
Yeah, well, that's what you do to a rookie running back. You just bring him over the sideline, water him down, and put him back in there.
Well, he's a lone setback. He gets the carry. And he gets the first down.
He got it right to that yellow line.
When you look at the standings, John, and you look at the fact that in the AFC West, Seattle and San Diego still playing. Kansas City has an off week. Raiders are now 3-3, and Denver's 2-4, so they're not out of it.
Well, that's the thing. You remember in Sports Illustrated there was a story, we're finished, and there was a big, hubbubaloo about that a couple of weeks ago, and then they beat the Raiders last week, and then they're going to beat the Packers here today. They just got a first down right here, and I don't know that they're anything. I mean, this is the Sports Illustrated story where it says we're finished. Some unnamed player said that, but the way this league is, and the way this season is, and the way it's going, I don't know that anyone is finished in the first 4 or 5 games.
Well, in the NFC Central, Green Bay after today would be 3-2, tied with Detroit for first place. The Bears 3-3. Tampa Bay 2-3, and Minnesota 2-4.
Yeah, who would have thought Minnesota? I mean, everything Green Bay did was to beat Minnesota, and now they better be worrying about Detroit and Chicago and Tampa Bay and Minnesota at 2-4. But you wonder if they're not thinking up in Minnesota. Did we make a mistake when we traded Brad Johnson? Brett Favre was thinking there that he ran into a buzzsaw here. He and his whole Packer team, they didn't expect anything like this.
This is Avery spinning down near another first down.
Look at this, Pat. Olandis Gary has more yards and more plays than the entire Green Bay Packer team.
Yeah.
That's quite an effort, but for a rookie from University of Georgia who went his first 2 years to Marshall, 4th-round draft choice.
Coming up on the 2-minute warning.
But it's guys like that that are fun to have on your team.
You think about the series of good running backs they've had at the University of Georgia, going back to Herschel Walker and before. There's Fenway Park in Boston as they get ready for Game 4 of the series between the Yankees and the Red Sox.
You know, it doesn't get a lot better than that, does it? I mean, if there's someplace you'd want to be right now, I think it's right there. The Yankees and the Red Sox and Fenway Park in a championship game doesn't get a heck of a lot better than that.
No.
You just think that you have all the history and the tradition. Do you know many Red Sox fans?
No.
Red Sox fans, I'll tell you this. Red Sox fans know history better than any other sports fan, because they all go back. Well, in 1980, in 1970, remember that Buckner, remember the 1960, and then eventually they go back to 1918. In 1918, they went, and then they got the Babe Ruth thing and the curse and the whole deal. Every Red Sox baseball fan knows history, years, dates, everything.
Well, they know it's been a lot of frustrating years against the Yankees, no question about that.
Yep, this offense has done a job.
Let's knock people out. Do 60 minutes of it. Do you feel?
You know, that's how it started. To me, a lot of that stuff is phony baloney. I really don't go for that. I never did as a coach either. But they kind of took that, whatever that was, and they rolled it, and they kept it up for 60 minutes here today.
Did. And they're just kneeling now. And the Packers, although they have 3 timeouts, are not going to prolong it. Here comes Mike Shanahan across the field. And Ray Rhodes coming to meet him.
Remember, Ray Rhodes and Mike Shanahan coached together with the San Francisco 49ers, and other than when they play each other, they're very good friends.
Going to be a happy night in the Greasy family, I'm sure. A frustrating day for Brett Favre. Denver 31, Green Bay 10 as Bob Greasy looks on, and we'll be back.